What's going on, guys? Jordan here on November 19th, throwing some news your way, Sunday evening. First, funny thing about Fiji water is that, if you were watching that speech that Trump gave when he got back from Asia a few days ago, he took that nonchalant, sip of water during his speech, and everybody was scratching their head like, what the heck was he doing? It's a message, right? Nothing's a coincidence these days, because if you looked at him, he awkwardly fumbled around for it and specifically turned the label to face the screen while he mean mugged basically and took a sip, right? And you think, like, why would the White House even have water with a label on it in the first place? And he's just taking a weird sip of it and just mean mugging the camera down, so there has to be something behind it. Well, Fiji, on the State Department website itself, says is a source destination for human trafficking, child sex trafficking. So this was basically a big fuck you to the deep state, and it was beautiful, and I'm just laughing at it hilariously. But anyway, some news for you guys. Had occurred over the weekend, before we hopefully have a very spectacular week in store for us. First, there's been word today of Marines storming Langley. Langley being the headquarters where the CIA is located, and there was a article that got circulated around of a certain radio show. I don't want to say any names here, but it says, reports U.S. Marine Expeditionary Unit, MEU, lands at Langley. And according to this article, which, let me tell you, it says, reports are beginning to surface that an MEU landed at Langley on Saturday. And it said that there was about 2,200 units, and there were also witnesses that saw tilt-rotor aircraft that the Marines deplaned from. They were armed and moved quickly into CIA headquarters. And, okay, all right. Not only did I see this article circulate, but I also saw a certain YouTube video that was just posted yesterday. It already has over 300,000 views on it, got crazy popular. It's basically reiterating exactly what this article said. And, clickbait as crap as far as I'm concerned so far. All I see are, according to persons who reside, who are the persons, in the YouTube video, it just said, according to sources. What sources? It's same thing that the mainstream media does. It's just clickbaity stuff that has no verifiable evidence behind it. And when you look around in the description of the videos or of the articles and you try to find any links, there's nothing. So as far as I'm concerned, don't jump for joy quite yet. I don't think any Marines have stormed Langley, Virginia, because we would be hearing something somewhere, a picture on something by now, in my opinion. If something that massive, it's 2,200 troops with tilt-rotor aircraft stormed into Virginia. It's not something that would be hidden. But anyway, now that that's been set aside, let's talk about the earthquake storm around Fiji. So, speaking of Fiji water, 4 or 5 days ago, whenever Trump's speech was, Fiji water was all over the news and being outed and whatnot, but just today we had over 5 to 6 point earthquakes all around the Fiji region. So, very peculiar, right? We have all these earthquakes that strike right around Fiji in a span of just about, looks like 7 hours here. At about 3 a.m. they had a 6.4, 4 a.m. a 5.3, one at 5, one at 9, one at 10, one at 11. They were all between 5 and 6. So, don't really know why. Here's some of my speculations here. I thought HARP, of course. But when you think HARP, or not necessarily HARP, because there's talk that it's been deregulated or decommissioned, but any kind of those earthquake-making technologies that are out there, that are in these special access projects, could have been. But then again, why would the deep state attack Fiji if Fiji were in the news or one of their source destinations, right? What if it was HARP technology controlled by white hats, right? Here Trump outs Fiji water on the news. 3 or 4 days later, we see a swarm of earthquakes around Fiji. I'm not ruling that out by any means. Could have been a white hat retaliation. Could have been solar effects, right? We have a coronal hole. I'm a big watcher of solar weather. I report on it whenever there's big stuff coming at us. But there's a small to moderate size coronal hole actually facing Earth right now. And whenever these coronal holes shoot their particles at Earth, that can make a higher chance of earthquakes. But it's really weird, right? It's just around Fiji. Very, very weird. And then I wrote here collective consciousness as well, because this is a big one. You know, our minds, all of our minds together have very powerful effects on everything that shapes us, even our planet itself. So with everyone's minds being on Fiji water with this whole event happening, or Fiji itself, you know, who knows? Could be a factor of many different things, all three, if that were the case. But I want to make that known. Earthquakes around Fiji. I saw a few more pictures past couple days of people in boots in D.C. I think I saw Hillary Clinton still in a boot. John McCain is now in a wheelchair and still in his boot. Looks like he's just kind of crying for attention or making us feel real bad for him so we don't ask necessary questions we need to of that guy. But then I also saw a picture of Donald Trump addressing a press conference where it looked like there might have been a couple other people in boots too. I'm not too sure about that. But still wondering about that one. Why? And this one here, I saw a lot of smear pieces go on today. This smear piece came out of CNN. Yes, you know, I do think it's important to read mainstream media every day because you always want to be aware of what the enemy is throwing at you, right? A lot of people say, oh, I don't go near mainstream media, but it's important to read. You just have to be able to hone your discernment to see what's right and see what's wrong in their articles. But basically what's going on is that the president of Media Matters was on CNN defending the ad boycott against Sean Hannity and Fox News. And of course, Media Matters. What is Media Matters? That's David Brock's brainchild. David Brock being the former boyfriend of Comet Ping Pong Pizza Shop owner James Alefantis. So you can see the connections there. You can see as to why they would be crying against Fox News and Sean Hannity. Tick tock, bitches. Because Fox News is, crazily enough, never would have said this 5 years ago, but they seem to be part of that alliance trying to get the truth out to the people. Truth about the Seth Rich, they posted a story and had to retract it real quick. A month or two ago, they've been talking about child sex trafficking and all of that. They've been talking about the Uranium 1 deal that we'll discuss in a sec. But it's no doubt, no wonder why Media Matters would be trying to smear them. And we then to the Uranium 1 deal. We have that FBI informant. The FBI informant who claims he has a video of Russian agents with briefcases of bribe money in the Clinton uranium scandal. I'm reading this from Zero Hedge right now. Again, you can check the links to all this stuff down below afterwards. But basically, an undercover FBI informant in the Russian nuclear industry was made to sign an illegal non-disclosure agreement by former AG Loretta Lynch, and he claims to have video evidence of Russian agents with briefcases full of bribe money. And he is actually going to be testifying to Congress this week. Now, I don't know why the heck they outed his name, but it says the informant, whose identity was revealed by Reuters as William D. Campbell. Makes sense why Reuters would out his name if they found that out. Being the corporate media rag, they're on that side of the fence. And hopefully, publicity will be helpful in this man's case to keep him alive long enough to testify. But also in this article I'm reading on Zero Hedge as well, it's interesting, they're talking about Hannity and Sean Hannity's outing. The two journalists that discovered this story sat down with Sean Hannity and discussed with him what was going on. So anyway, I'll link that down below. You can read a little bit more of what happened. But I have heard, as per certain sources, who I believe are very close to the president, the Uranium 1 scandal will begin unraveling tomorrow. That's what's been said, and it will just create this big avalanche. So I think that's why the smear campaigns are in full force right now. So I think it's going to be a fun week, guys. That's why I wanted to do this video tonight. And last I've heard, we have 1,800 sealed indictments. So, these sealed indictments, ever since the beginning of November, they've seemed to be growing and growing and growing in the amount. We had some like 20 or 30, and we were all hyped by that, and then it grew up to like 150, and now it just shot up to over 1,800. I hope this is legit. I hope these sealed indictments from all over the country are going to be the storm that sweeps America. Because remember, the storms hit Saudi Arabia. There's been hundreds continuously being purged over the past few weeks there. The storm seems to have hit Zimbabwe with the dictator of 37 years, was named Mugabe, I think, if I have it right. He was outed there, and I saw a video of people literally celebrating in that country earlier today. And so the storm's going global, and it's only a matter of time before it hits here, so let's hope these are legit indictments, which I think they are, that's going to be unsealed when the storm is really upon us, as it should be very soon. And then lastly, I saw an article on The Independent, so out of Europe, and this is mainstream media, police investigating corruption arrive at the home of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, he's been questioned, they say this is his 6th time being questioned, but, you know, it's just with everything else going on the world scale, especially in Saudi Arabia. Remember, when the first purge happened in Saudi Arabia, Israel went on full alert, and they activated their Air Force, and they were doing exercises, right? Well, those weren't exercises. I bet Israel was scared. They probably had their buttholes puckered up that that storm was about to hit Israel. So, you know, with these corruption questioning of Netanyahu, let's hope it's real this time. Let's hope that storm is really going to hit. And it's funny, you know, a lot of, I've seen a lot of trolls, and people have been questioning me, wondering if I've been like taking money from Israel or something like that. I'm like, man, if I really was, I'd be driving a much nicer car. But definitely not any kind of pro-Zionist here. I'm very much for or against corruption anywhere, even Israel. So, and I'm pretty positive that guy's in quite a bit of it. So anyway, that's about all I have for tonight, folks. I'll be back with all kinds of new, good videos this week. And